Hello, my name is Sharon Robson and I'm a consultant at SoftEd. In this whiteboard session, I'm going to talk to you about Cynefin applied. You will have seen a lot of information flowing around at the moment around the Cynefin framework, and seriously, I recommend that you spend the time and energy to learn about it. It's an incredibly powerful thinking model and a great leadership model. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is how we can use Cynefin to help us in our leadership conversations. First of all, 4 quadrants to Cynefin. We have simple, we have complicated, we have complex, and we have chaos. There is the area of unknown in the middle of these quadrants. I'm not going to drill in detail about how the model was formed and what it means. What I'm going to talk to you about is how you can lead through these quadrants. The simple quadrant is where the actions that we take are predictable. This is where best practice sits, which is great. But as a leader, this is where I do not want my team to be spending energy. I want them to be spending their energy on the hard bits. So when I'm setting up my team and I analyze and work with my team to understand what activities they're doing, when anything falls into that simple quadrant, automate it. Make sure that we can catalog, categorize, manage that best practice. Automate it as much as possible. If you can't automate it, make it into a checklist. You do not want to be spending time in that quadrant expending energy thinking. The next quadrant that I look at with my teams is where we move into the complicated quadrant. Now, complicated and simple are in the known knowns area of this framework. And what it means is the elements of behavior in those areas tend to be somewhat predictable. In the simple quadrant, it is almost exactly cause effect. In the complicated quadrant, there's a little bit more that we have to pay attention to. So we move our mindset into the sense, analyze, respond, instead of simply sense, respond. What this means is we need to look closely for any decision points or flexion points in our way of thinking. But again, once we've identified them, we can actually codify them into a checklist or alternate patterns of behavior. This allows us to recognize and create best practice behaviors for a number of options. So we call this good practice. We know that there are ways of delivering value through this quadrant. Once we've looked at our working patterns in those known knowns quadrants, we can move into the really fun stuff. And I say fun, and I'm not being facetious, because as human beings, we love solving problems. And so the quadrants that we look at here are where we're in our complex paradigm or when we're even in our chaos paradigm. As a leader, being able to understand when we are in those areas and we are experiencing these types of problems is vital, because this is where leadership comes to its fore. The challenge we face in the unknown unknowns is we have to act first. We actually have to probe or take a step forward into the unknown to find information out. Now, in our complex quadrant, as a leader, we are looking for patterns and they may not be immediately apparent. So we need to probe, we need to examine, we need to experience so those patterns can emerge. And that's where we get emergent practice happening. And we're able to foster the growth of knowledge within our team by encouraging and supporting them in doing those activities. Probing, learning, probing, learning. The 4th quadrant has a terrible name, I'm sorry, chaos. But chaos is not necessarily bad. It's actually absolutely amazing to work in. And in chaos environments, this is where, as a team, we are very much catering to our needs to create things. In the chaos paradigm, that's where we can focus on creating novel, new practices. We actually get to throw away the rule book and come up with our own rule set. As a leader, your team needs you the most whenever you're in that chaos quadrant, when you're in a paradigm where there is no pattern that anyone can adhere to. So, as a leader, have the courage to act so that you can learn something and enable your team to act so they can learn something. Enjoy working in each 4 of these particular areas or types of work, but spend your energy where it is going to be most useful. Move to chaos. Enjoy the complexity. Automate the simple.